Hello YouTube, this is Callum from EnglishShooting, and it's been quite a while since I've made a video specifically on the 1522, and as it's my favourite gun and the gun I have the most fun with, I thought it was about time that I made another video to kind of go over what I've changed, what I want to change and what I want to add, what I like about the changes, what changes I would recommend and which changes I would recommend to avoid. So I thought I'd just go completely top to tail over it and go over what I've changed. So starting from the front end, the first change you can see is the 45-degree sight. Obviously you've got the front and the back. I've made a specific review on these 45-degree mounts. I really like them and I think they're brilliant pieces of kit. Not too expensive, can be picked up by most gun shops, and it allows you to just have a complete clear sight picture when using a red dot. Then moving on, we have the Magpul XTM enhanced rail panels. I think anybody with a gun that has Picatinny rails have looked at these or has them. It's just a complete, must-have Magpul thing. I don't think they really do anything. These, where it is a polymer, the Picatinny rail isn't sharp, so I don't catch myself on it, so I don't need them. It's purely aesthetic. Then moving down, you have the AFG, the Magpul AFG. That's the angled foregrip, and it's actually the AFG 2. The AFG 1, the original, actually has flares at the front here, which kind of go over and kind of fill in this little gap here. Again, it is just a preference of mine. I just liked it a little sleeker, and having that extra cover there I wasn't too bothered about, and now having these, that kind of does that job anyway. So this is the AFG 2. I think this is an absolutely must have. I know a lot of people have these. It is just one of those token things. It's just the token Magpul thing, but it's on every AR-15 for a reason. I just think the comfort it gives, it's just very ergonomic. You've got a changeable piece here, so you can have this bit flat. I've got it protruding, again, just to give you something a little bit extra to grip to. I wouldn't have a gun without this. I wouldn't have an AR-15 without this. Then kind of moving up, I think the most expensive, or is the most expensive thing I've put on this rifle, but probably the thing I would recommend the most is a red dot. Specifically, I would recommend the EOTech. I know there's Aimpoint, I know there's Vortex, there's countless different red dots you can get. I absolutely love the EOTech, and it's again one of those things that I would buy for every AR-15 I own. It takes that kind of shooting experience to another level, and yes, it's 400 quid's worth, but I think it's worth every penny. They hold their value extremely well, they're long lasting. I wouldn't hesitate picking one up second hand. They're just brilliant pieces of kit. The next visible thing you can see is the Magpul bag lever. Now again, I did a review on this. It was a bit of a mix-match review. I made about 3 videos. I first did it, it didn't work, and then while playing around with it, it did work, so I remade the video, and I did really recommend this, and I still would if it worked. I've got it on there at the moment, but it is probably something I'm going to take off, as I do just continually have problems with it. I have heard that there is a 1522 specific lever. It's not a Magpul, but somebody is actually making them for the 1522, and I'd love to get my hands on one of those and put it on. Apparently it's not designed for the 1522. You've got to cut out a bit of the trigger piece here, or this trigger area, to get it to work, and I'm just not prepared to do that. Again, absolutely love the idea of it, love the look of it, and for any other AR-15, would wholly recommend it. If you can get it to work with the 1522 reliably, then I would recommend it. But for the 30 quid that it can cost, or up to £40 with postage and packing, it's not worth the risk of it's going to interfere with that last round bolt hold open. Moving further on, I've got the Magpul MIAD grip. Again, I've made a video on this separately. Absolutely love it. Again, if I was to get another AR-15 or even just another 1522 or anything that took Magpul grips, this would be something that would go straight on it. I just love the feel of it. I didn't think there was anything wrong with my last grip, the grip that comes standard with 1522, but once I'd put this on and once I'd felt this, it's just a whole world of difference. It just fits the hand better. It's got this rough surface. It just grips better. It almost gives better kind of trigger pull on it, and I feel I'm more stable on the trigger. It just fills the hand and gives you more support. It just feels fantastic. So this is the MOE carbine stock. It's just kind of your basic standard Magpul add-on stock. Again, it's just something that, after comparing it to what was on the gun, I didn't think there was anything wrong with what was on the gun. It was a bit rattly, and if you shook the gun, you could hear it rattling. But I didn't think there was anything wrong with it until I put this on, and this is just solid. There's no rattling. The mechanism on it is just beautifully made. It's sturdy, and again, it just takes it to another level. Internally, the other modification I've made to this gun, again, I've got another video on that, is the trigger slack. So you can see on there, there's the play. That's pretty standard. But if you switch it to safe, my trigger's rock solid. With the gun coming standard, there's a lot of play with that. It really does, wobble about, and what that leads to as well is when you're shooting it, there's a lot more play, a lot more slack, and you can get this little washer that you feed through, or this little nut even that you feed through the grip mount hole. You feed it through and it takes up that slack. One of the things I would like to add, one of the things I would like to drop in, is a trigger set. I don't think it needs it. It shoots fine, shoots brilliantly, but I would just like a really light kind of competition trigger. They're not bad triggers on the 1522s, but they're not good. They're pretty standard, they do the job, but they're a bit clunky, a bit heavy, and I think with a competition trigger, this thing's just going to shoot like an absolute dream. It's going to, again, take it up to another level. The only reason I haven't done that is because trigger sets are, good 200-300 quid. And again, there's just other things, I'd rather save up a little bit extra and go and buy another gun. So it's just one of those things, I just haven't had the spare money laying around to justify doing that. So the final thing, the second thing I'd like to change to this rifle, and the final modification, is I'd like to cut the barrel down. It's kind of coincidental that I've got this in the frame that I have, because that's about where I'd like to cut it down to. Obviously, if you know the 1522, it goes on for quite a while. You've got quite a protrusion there. What I would love to do is shorten it, just so I've got the thread poking out, so I can still add a moderator. I can still put a suppressor on it and shoot it down my local club. So there are also a few other bits that I've kind of bought that aren't on the rifle at the moment that I thought I'd show you. And obviously, with the standard rifle, you get a 25 round magazine. I've gone away and bought the 10 round. That's just for shooting it prone, so you can have a lower profile. It just about sticks out, so you can get down lower and flatter, and you can never have too many magazines, so that was an easy buy for me. Talking about magazines as well, I think this is a real must for anybody looking at the 1522. They do also make adapters for these, for the Ruger 1022 and anything that takes the Black Dog magazines as well. But a 50 round drum magazine, it just looks cool as hell on there. I've even had firearms officers come over and drool over it. It's quite a sight to see someone down a range with a 50 round magazine in the UK, and it does really turn heads, and saves on reloading time effectively. You can just load it up and blast away. So the final thing that's not visible on the rifle at the moment is the Fab Defense G2 rotating T-pod. I have got a review video of this as well, and it is one of these pieces of kit that I absolutely love and can't rave about enough. But it's not something I keep on the rifle all the time, because it's quite heavy and it's quite chunky. If I had a full metal rifle and it was already well balanced and quite heavy, within the upper and lower, then I wouldn't probably notice it as much. But you put this thing on this polymer rifle and the whole thing dips. So it's something that I keep in my bag, and if I'm going to be doing multiple positions and I'm going to be shooting in prone, I'll put it on straight away, because you can do that. You can get instantly a bipod deployed, and then it can go straight back up, and you've got that, you know, forward grip there. But I don't like using it as a forward grip because I've already got this. You know, I don't see a point unless I'm going to be shooting prone. But again, it's something I would really recommend. I'm glad I've got it, and it's not something I plan on selling anytime soon. So I know there's countless people out there modifying theirs. I would love to see some pictures of yours. If you want to link them down in the comments section below. You know, I love seeing what other people do, what they come up with, what they like to change, and what they think is the perfect 1522 setup. So I'd love to see that. But as always, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope to see you soon.